What's going on, ladies and gents? Mike the Machine, Gates, and welcome to Yokeville. This vlog is going to be about putting weight on, bulk diet, gaining mass. How did I do that back in my prime when I got up to 241 pounds? I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of details. It's going to take too long and it takes too much time. So if you want more of that, you can always go to my online training tribe. If you want me to train you, give you detailed, all that kind of stuff, then go down there. Here's basically the gist of it. I worked out 3 days a week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That was my days. When I got in the Marine Corps, I weighed 180, roughly what I weigh now. Now I'm about 185, 188, somewhere between there. I got up to 241 pounds in a year. Never took drugs. As I said, I've never taken anything. I'm now fit over 50. Worked out 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday was deadlift day. Wasn't freaking chesticle day, bench pressing like the rest of the bro science bodybuilder banana hammock dudes going like this trash. It was freaking deadlifts. Wednesday was bench. Not necessarily barbell bench, it might have been dumbbell bench, but it was pressing, my pressing day. And then Fridays was leg day. Now, as I've said before, I didn't do conventional barbell squats. I never was big on it. I don't know why it didn't feel good to me. I did Zercher squats to crook my arm, but you gotta remember, even back then, when I got out of the Marine Corps in the mid-90s, that's when MMA was in its inception, so I started competing in grappling. So my whole training plan was geared towards combative sport, if that makes any sense. So my deadlifts, as I said in the previous video, what my deadlift routine was, I did 3 sets of 3 on deadlifts on the pull day. I did 3 sets of 3 on the Zercher squat on the leg day. And then my chest day was freaking completely different back then. I did 5 sets of singles with said weight. Typically, it was one-arm presses. Even before I tore this pec, I was doing one-arm presses. I don't know why, but I was. I don't have any reasoning behind that. So it's 3x3 on pulls, 5x1 on presses on the chest, 3x3 on the leg day. Now, those are my 3 main focused lifts. Also on those days, I was always doing some type of shrug. Typically, at the end of my deadlift, sometimes I would shrug at the top of the deadlift. There is video on here. I'll see if I can find it, put a link down here so you can see what I'm talking about. I was doing behind the back deadlifts and a shrug at the top. I'm pretty sure I've got the video. Again, I lost everything when my Mac crashed and then all this other trash. So, as far as eating goes, I was on a caloric surplus of all sorts of stuff. I was also doing concrete work, my trade, because unlike people that go to college and waste a bunch of money, get in debt, I have a trade. I'm a concrete precaster by trade if my business ever failed, being that we're in my commercial gym. So, I'm rambling on. Anyways, eating-wise, for example, breakfast was 4 eggs, 2 to 4 pieces of toast, and then I'd do a bulk shake that I made, and I'd take that with me on the way to work. So remember, I was working out all day doing concrete work, then I'd go to the gym at 5 o'clock when I got off work and I lifted. So I was working out all freaking day, so the calories had to be huge. And the protein shake, I could tell you what that is later on, but I'd put banana, peanut butter, some oats, whole milk, and frozen yogurt. There you go, boom, and 2 scoops of protein. Then at 9:30 was coffee break. I'd have either 2 more sandwiches, protein bar, protein cookie. Actually, no, that's a lie. Protein cookies weren't around back then. Protein bar, usually it was a Pro Max bar, 1 or 2 of those. Then I'd have lunch. Lunch or whatever I fixed at dinner. Typically, it was always with pasta back then. So it'd be beef with pasta. Or it could have been chicken thighs. It was never chicken breast. I'm not a freaking banana hammock bodybuilder, even though, look at that trash. I don't know, I'm trying, look at that. It even got, anyway, I digress. Not a bodybuilder. So, it would be not chicken breast, not lean. It would be something along those, usually something I'd smash together. It could be mashed potatoes with beef, something like that. Then you work after lunch, then at 2:30 we had another short 15-minute break. At that point, I would typically eat, if I was still hungry, which I usually was, I'd have a couple pieces of fruit and or another protein bar, something along those lines, or nuts. Then I'd go work out. Then dinner was usually, it was, like I said before, it was chicken thighs, it was steak, it was ground beef, it was mashed potatoes. I like sweet potatoes, but it wasn't sweet potatoes. It was mashed potatoes, either Idaho potatoes, red potatoes. I didn't have bread at night. Then another option with breakfast, I'd have waffles. I might have 4 waffles with eggs. I'd make pancakes made out of bananas with eggs. I always had eggs. I'd have eggs and bacon. I never had steak in the morning. And that was pretty much that. That's just the basics of what I did. I didn't vary from that at all. I was always disciplined. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, Sunday, rest days. And I got all up to 241 pounds to the point that my best friend who owned the gym thought I was taking crap And one day I walked into the training room and this dude grabbed me, threw me up against the counter, put his form in my throat and said, "Who are you getting your trash from?" And he told me back then that I was too strong genetically. I didn't need any of the gear. And I'm like, "I'm not on gear, stupid. Never taken nothing." So that was my workouts. That was my workout eating plan. My workouts, I was in there no more than 45 minutes tops, even back then, before I even knew that anything over 45 minutes to an hour, basically your testosterone goes in the toilet and you plummet. Even then, I trained hard, I slept, rested, ate a lot of freaking food and calories. You're going to put some fat on when you're doing things naturally. And my sandwiches typically were peanut butter and jelly. Always had whole milk. Sometimes peanut butter and where I'm from in New England, we call it marshmallow. Some people call it fluff, which is just junk anyways, but you want to put calories on, that's what you did. So if you want to get further and you want me to train you, obviously that's not going to be for free because it's going to take too much of my time because obviously I run a business. If you want to do that, go to my link below, join my online training tribe, put your name and email and stuff. It'll come to me. We can discuss something like that. If not, that's cool too. Own your freaking day. Bow when the sheep stand. You stand when them damn sheeple wimps bow. You understand? Good to go. Ciao.